overwhelm into manageable and practical tools for everyday use.
All right, guys, we're so excited. We're back. This is 40 episode. We've been talking about this forever. And now here we are. So we have a couple of our friends with us that we have roped into this fun This is 40 episode. So Kris invited some guests and so did I. And I will just tell you who I invited and Kris will tell you who she invited, and then they will jump on and tell us, you know, who they are a little bit. So I invited my friend Gab, who I've talked about before, you guys know. So she's here with us. She is not in the age bracket yet with us officially, but we play this game, right? We all play the same.
We're close.
Yeah.
We're the same.
Yeah. So I invited Gab. And how about you, Christina? Who'd you invite?
So I invited Jen and Heather Ann, who just became in the age bracket. They just qualified for the age bracket. So they are both here. And one has been my friend since our kids were in kindergarten. They are now 21. And one is my cousin and also my sister. So it is craziness, but they are both friends of mine for years and years and years, as well as family.
All right. So who do you want to start with? Who do you want to hear from first?
Well, let me ask you a question, because I think you wrote something which started all of this.
I feel like this is really, you put me on the spot now. You finally have found how you can put me on the spot, right?
Did I find your kryptonite?
No, there is none.
Not yet.
Not yet. Hold on, I got to find it though. You know what I did? Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is back in March. I wrote it back in March. So this has really been a long time coming. So I think we talked about this a little bit and then I wrote this, and I think maybe I was having a rough couple of days or something, but anyway, I'll read to you guys what I wrote, and it is unedited. So I'm going to just read it the way it is. So if it sounds a little goofy, I'm actually a better writer than this. This was written on my iPhone. So, but anyway, here we go. I thought at 40, I would have a group of friends who were like-minded and we would be able to spend time together and do a lot of fun activities. But it turns out that even though I do have a group of friends who have kids around my kids' age, I find that they are more a group of great people who are sounding boards and people I can text in the middle of the night to ask if it's a snow day, recess tomorrow, or if the leprechaun traps are due on Monday. My greatest visions look so much like TV. I thought everyone would spend time with our neighbors and it was going to just be fun all weekend long. It turned out that I feel more disconnected than I ever have in my life. I feel like real conversation about how I feel and how my friends feel has taken a backseat to the typical get it all done, do it all because you're a mom attitude. I feel like at age 42, I'm going through something of a midlife crisis. Midlife crisis. Obviously, I am so much luckier than most people, first world problems. But at the same time, I think the biggest gaping hole in my life is my career. In my late 20s and 30s, I identified myself as my career. But now as I get older, I realize there's so much more I would prefer to identify as. I can now see how people around my age leave loving and not so loving marriages, quit their jobs, buy a fast car or a vacation home that might be too expensive. If there is something that we are all looking for because we don't realize what we actually have, what is it that brings so many people to this point of questioning their choices and their lifestyle? Or have we just actually reached a time in our lives where we can look critically at our choices and realize we are convinced ourselves to be happy about something? And then I finish it with, it's very existential, but truthfully, what I wrestle with. So, I mean, I'll just let it sit there, I guess, for a second, because it was very, I think I was having a really rough couple of days when I wrote that. And it is something that I struggle with because as things change in my life, so do my feelings about the choices that I've made in my life. And so do the the places I feel myself stuck in. You know, I feel like I used to not look at it as being stuck in a certain place, but now I'm like, ugh, this feels like I'm stuck in the mud here. But anyway, so that's what this kind of started out as. How about you? I know you had a little something too, right? My friend
Oh,
Christina.
yes, I did, but mine came much later. Mine came yesterday, the day before. And Heather, mine came after speaking with you and then sewing a pair of pants that I bought at Marshall's. And I brought it home and I found a huge hole, and I'm sitting there and I'm like thinking about this and us ladies getting together and just thinking about being 40 and what starting my career and the past year, 2 years have looked like for me. So mine's a little bit different. I said, or 3 years, right? Because I just turned 43. So 40 began with an unknown. Don't laugh too hard there. 40 began, yeah. 40 began with an unknowing of what I had become comfortable with for 21 years. Instead, I would now be venturing into a new world. It meant facing fears, releasing tears, answering so many questions about myself, and embracing all new freedoms I knew nothing about. It meant realizing a graduation into dreams I had only ever imagined in my mind. 40 meant finding myself as a woman, no longer identifying only as a mom or a wife. Christina was my priority number one, but how does one start that process? It meant truths and vulnerabilities, asking for help, breakdowns and buildups. It meant my whole world would change. And yet, who does this in their 40s? Clearly I do. Convictions have become stronger. My voice became louder. Love became more honest. Patience became far less. Life began to make sense, and gratitude became a valuable asset. Time and presence matters despite an inability to remain present. Still a daily battle, the beauty of the imperfect human. My 40s have been a soul-searching truth movement where I have been establishing my non-negotiables. I have had to learn my place in this world and when to bite my tongue, when to walk away, and when to speak even louder. I used to have a lot more fight in me. Now I find there is too much we fight for and about, and it all isn't stuff I have the want to fight for anymore. My boundaries, my peace, the happiness of myself, my son, my husband, my little tribe is my priority. It's my priority since I know it is their priority as well. We share that connection, and connection means a great deal to me anymore. I am seeking to find the core of my happiness. So far, I know it latches on to what I have read and reread in the 4 agreements. Thank you, Heather Ann, for first introducing that to me. Speak with integrity, don't take things personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. I try to remind myself of these, and if I cannot live by these, I try to remove myself from the situation if I can anymore, or remain to myself. Being 40 is also doing what feels good, or maybe pushing through some fears to figure it out, but not doing things out of guilt. There is a freedom in honesty and communication. Again, 2 things I still work towards in a perfectly imperfect human way. 40 is something to learn. 40 is learning to trust your intuition more often, which can be a game changer, and also allowed all of my friendships to deepen because I have found more comfort in my own skin, and perhaps because they have as well. What did I think 40s would look like when I was a kid? Definitely the Golden Girls with maybe some spiked coffee. In reality, I used to feel like I am Deborah married to Raymond on Everybody Loves Raymond some days, and on other days, I definitely felt like I could play the lead role in Bad Moms. What my 40s is really like is a lot of work and pushing through hard stuff, but nothing like I ever could have imagined. It is all worth it because I now remind myself that it's progress over perfection, and despite things not looking the way I may have imagined at all times, I have co-pilots in this wild life with me, and I with them. So
nice. That's awesome.
This is how we begin our journey today. And this is how This Is 40 came about.
It's pretty much the gist of it, right? So basically, listeners, we have our friends here with us to kind of talk about some things. and their perspectives too. Obviously, we didn't give them much time to really digest our questions that we're going to ask them, but we wanted to give them a little time so that they could think a little bit about it, because Christina actually convinced me. She's like, I like to think about things, and me, I'm like, let's just talk about it. Let's see what comes out of the brain, right? So we're going to start out. We have our questions sort of divided into 3 parts. So we're going to talk about looking back, looking forward, and then living in it. And we actually have a little fun, spiced it up for you guys here too. So we have some rapid fire questions for you, which I can't wait to hear your answers to. All right. So let's start. What do you think? We'll look back first.
Yeah, let's start with Heather Ann.
Right.
Just in case Enzo wakes up and she has to dart out of here.
All right, let's do it. So we'll start. How about we do one question at a time, and then that way, if you got a bolt, you can, you're not like stuck in the middle here.
Okay.
All right. So if you could give your 20-something self a piece of advice, what would it be?
I would definitely tell her that she's enough, just who she is, just the way she is, and that she's worthy of a lot more than she thinks at that time, for sure. Because those are 2 kind of common themes, I think, for me that have carried through my life, that actually at 40, I finally understand and know my worth at this age. But in my 20s, that's a hard thing to really comprehend and understand.
And it's terrifying, isn't it? In your 20s, it's like,
absolutely. Yeah, you're consumed, or at least I was, with wanting to be liked and make friends, and heartbreak and love, and what you do and don't deserve, and do you look perfect enough? I struggle with perfectionism. It's a superpower of mine, and it's I guess my like kryptonite, as you ladies say, at the same time. So perfectionism has been a common theme for me throughout my life and all the roles that I've played. And I wish that 20-year-old young woman, that I could let her know and go back, that you're enough just the way you are, perfectly imperfect, and to just like rock those imperfections in every way.
Yeah, it's such a self-confidence thing, isn't it? Like, as you start to feel more comfortable in your skin, you look back and you're like, oh, remember when I thought that it mattered what people were saying, and the reflection that my life, is mine. Like, there was no, I totally feel you on that one.
And just thinking about, like, even, for young women today, like the weight they carry, thinking about those things and feeling that it's such a heavy weight to carry, that it weighs you down and really does prevent you from feeling like you are enough and just being 100% yourself. I don't think you really even know what that is at that time, at that age really yet.
Yeah, definitely. I think we should kick this one over to Jen too, because she was in a totally different place in her 20s than, right? So Jen, you and Christina were in a pretty similar place in your 20s, right? And I was totally not, which, like, every time Christina and I like compare our lives, it's like we almost like worked on an opposite trajectory. Like, we literally could not have been more different. So how about you, Jen? What piece of advice would you give your 20-something self?
Well, even though I was in a completely different situation, I have to agree with Heather. You're perfect. You worry about being perfect, and I worried about being perfect where I was in my life, but I also worried about satisfying everybody. And I felt like I disappointed a lot of people. And I feel like if I can go back, you should never worry about disappointing anybody. You just worry about pleasing yourself, and you just go with that. So I would definitely go back and erase everyone else's opinions of what I was going through at that time, and just worry about myself.
Yeah. Like I said, so my 20-something self was, I don't know, I was probably drinking too much and staying out too late and, doing all that kind of stuff. And you had a whole lot more responsibility on you guys than I did, for sure. So, what do you think, Gab? Your 20-something self, what would you tell her?
To slow down and stop trying to like race to grow up. Like, man, why did I not take that extra semester? Or why did I not study abroad? Or like, there was no reason to race to the finish of a real job. Like, oh, why did I want to do that? Like, because now, like, I have kids and a job and I can't just go to wherever for a semester. So, like, to do that, like, I could have student taught in Australia, but I was like, no, I can't do that. I had a boyfriend at home. Like, that was stupid. I should have gone. I should have like lived an adventure, because then I graduated and got a job and then, got engaged. And so, like, there's no rush. I should have just slowed down and enjoyed the ride that was my early 20s. And when I thought I was like heavy or overweight or unhappy, like, man, that was, again, like, you spend too much time worrying about what other people think. Like, oh, no clue, like, not even close to any of those things at that point.
How about it? Right? You with us, Kris?
I'm just yesing everybody. I just
I
agree
know.
with everybody so much in so many ways, because everything they're saying is so true. Like, that was my 20s, just like Jen, Kyle was little. So of course I was appeasing everybody and trying to please everybody. And I don't even know. I am still working on that worth thing. I think I will continue to work on that worth thing. That's something that's part of the journey that I'm on. That's part of the thing that started in my 40s. I know I'm worth it, but it's a process for me. Just because it was on hold for so many years. I was on mom mode and wife mode and daughter mode and everything else mode. So just catching up on that stuff. So yeah, I'm just all about, yes, I'll just sit here on mute and just, yes, everybody shake my head. Amen to everything. It's so true. Go back and tell your 20-year-old self for sure.
It's funny because, like, it must have something, there must be some psychology behind it, right? Because your brain's really not fully developed. So like they say, 25 to 30 years old, like, it's like your brain is literally still working on being ready to be an adult. So how do we think that we're going to make these great decisions before then?
Mm-hmm.
I think about like 17 and 18-year-olds that are trying to decide what they're going to do for their future. Like, what the hell did I know when I was 17? Right? Like, I mean, frankly, what did I know when I was 30? Like, what do I know now? I don't know. I'm still looking for a new job.
We're still trying to figure that out in our 40s. Like, let's be real here.
How about it? All right. So we got one more for looking back. So this one's Christina's question. I'm going to let her ask you guys this one. Oh, you got Mr. Miller now. I hope he doesn't snarfle in the microphone.
Let's be real here. He can't leave my side, and Roro's in here. So if I let him down, there may be a beef in here. So something that ended up shockingly easy that you thought would be really hard. So Heather Ann, we'll start with you.
In my 40s, is that what the questions were? Being a mom. I was terrified and excited in a way I can't even describe when I found out I was going to be a mom on my 40th birthday. Around that time, my son was my gift. I was a pug mama up until then, a very happy, fulfilled woman with really no void in my life. In my 20s and 30s, I wanted children, one of each, the perfect picture, a boy and a girl. And my life just took a different turn. It took a longer, slower path. And at that age that I just felt fulfilled. And I really wasn't sure that that was what was meant for me, for my marriage. And I'm a faithful woman. So literally I gave it to God, and just prayed about it. And I said, I'm really terrified because I have no idea how this is going to fit into my life. And it's not something you can return. It's a full-time gig forever. And at the same time, if you want this for me, if I'm meant to bring a soul into this world, then I'm open to it. And literally the very next week, I found out I was pregnant. And it's been the greatest blessing to me. I was pregnant, and I miscarried shortly after finding I was pregnant. And the miscarriage was extremely difficult, but was like a really great, I hate to say great, but it was a blessing in a way, because having found out I was pregnant and then losing that child allowed me to go places that I never thought I was capable of going in my mind, and envisioning things and feeling this life and thinking about things that I knew for 1,000,000% I totally want to do this. So if you could help me make that happen again, I'm really, really, really ready, and I want it. And it did. And not that it's not hard. I mean, it's definitely hard, but it's just surprisingly easy too, because I just am enjoying it so much, more than almost anything that I thought I could. So I think that's been a big surprise. Not that I didn't think I wouldn't love being a mom, or I'd love having a little human in my life, but I was an animal gal, so little humans are a lot different. But he's incredible, and I feel really, really blessed and challenged every day by him. And my goal is to grow younger with him as I'm getting older. That's the goal. So.
I love that.
I know, me too. Like, I got
I know.
goosebumps because like my kids are like driving me crazy.
I know.
I'm going to get there too, I'm sure. Give me a few years and call me back on the podcast to talk about like being a teenager.
No, I would never. I used to hate that when I remember going through when I found out I was pregnant, it was like, oh, and then it was like I had a baby, and then everybody's like, oh, just wait till this, and that's going to be, and you're like, what? Like, who does that? Who says that? Like, I'm in awe of you that you're like this, that you're having such an awesome experience. And I think the other thing I think is that, like with age comes wisdom, you know what I mean? And you are so much more aware of how fleeting the experience is as a parent, like Gab and I are in a group text with a bunch of the moms, and one of the moms sent this thing yesterday that said, pretty soon there'll be no more late night drives home from practice or whatever, and it was like, oh God, I was such a mean mom yesterday, like I was like, God, and it's true, right? Because like, Jen, you're not picking Zach up from soccer anymore, right? Like that's,
No.
So that kind of stuff is fleeting. And I think we all have to be as thankful and as, know that we're lucky to be moms too. So sorry, I didn't mean to hijack it. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're absolutely right. It is a season in life, and everybody wants to, I shouldn't say everybody, but so many people want to rush you through it onto the next chapter and the next thing. And I am just trying to master being truly a human being instead of a human doing, because that's what I used to be. And Enzo has just helped me learn. It takes work and practice because I was never great at it, but just to really be present every single day, because there's not a minute or a moment that you want to miss that could be a first and a last too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So did I mention Heather Ann's also like my spiritual guru? And
I can see why.
Yeah, like seriously. Meanwhile, I'm over here crying in Kyle's room, which is now my little like pimp den, and thinking about the fact that I have an empty nest, but that's okay. We'll just move on.
You're welcome to come to my nest anytime you would like, and you can be Mama Bird, and I'll take a weekend off whenever
Yeah.
you want.
And I'll run like hell. No, I'm just kidding.
Aw.
I have plenty of children to visit. I got to come and hold Enzo yet. I got to view him from afar.
Anytime. He's ready for snuggles.
I know. I
Oh,
need
goodness.
Zerberts on that belly.
All
Jen.
right.
Something that ended up to be shockingly easy in your 40s that you thought would be really hard.
I struggled with that question. I couldn't come up with an answer. I don't know if I didn't have enough time to think about it, or if
mean podcast host, man. They just put you right on the spot.
or if I really just truly don't have an answer. I don't know. Like I feel like now in my 40s, I feel like everything is harder than it was when I was younger, and I don't know why. I feel like I think because I don't have complete control of my kids anymore. I felt like when I had control of them, I knew where they always were at all times. So I guess I'm going to reverse your question a little bit, because what I thought was going to be easy in my 40s is actually more difficult for me, because I have so much more worry about where my kids are, what they're doing, who they're with, versus when they were younger and I knew most of that. So I don't know if I'm allowed to reverse the question.
You're allowed to do anything you want. There are
Yep.
no rules here.
So I feel like most things are harder for me now than they were when I was younger.
You also have 2, and one is younger,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so
And
you're,
one's a boy and one's a girl.
yeah.
So good luck, Meg.
Listen, my 7-year-old already is like, oh my God. And she's like 7 going on 17. Like
Yeah.
Gab watches her in the morning. Gab like literally texted me the other day, like a couple weeks ago. She's like, I just found a bottle of nail polish in Ray's backpack. I'm pretty sure you didn't want it to go to school, right? And I'm like, no. Like, oops. Great job, Mom. So that's like going to be like a bottle of vodka, like, in 4 years. Maybe not 4, maybe 8 years.
I can't wait until she goes to college.
College. I'm not even going to talk to her for the 4 years she's in college. I'm be like, see ya, bye, and don't tell me what's happening. Like, call me for graduation. Show me where
Believe
to tell
me,
me where to show up.
you're gonna wanna long for those conversations when they're 18 and off to school. Like you're gonna want all of that. As much of a headache as it's gonna be, you're gonna want it.
Oh, trust me, I can't imagine. I can't. The questions they ask now, I'm like, ugh.
Gab, how about you? Have you found that there's something that ended up being shockingly easy in your, well, you're not even 40, but
Not
as
that
you
far.
as you near 40?
I think in the past year, like Meg and I are in a group of women that we, in just a year, have gone from like not really knowing each other to making sure we get together once a month and texting a lot. And I didn't think that at almost 40, I'd be able to find like a tribe. I kind of thought like, all right, that's done. Like I've got my, good friend from here, my sister, and another good friend here. And I thought, all right, well, that's good. That's good. But finding this group of women, like at this point in my life, was really surprising. I didn't expect it. And yes, our common thread is that we all have kids that are, the same age, but it's just been nice because while it is about kids and it's not always about that. There's other things. And it's been really nice at this point to find a tribe that I didn't I don't think I've had since college, where, you know, you're like in this group of people and it was just that, you know, group, and you were together because you were either living together or in classes together, and you don't have that as an adult. So it's been nice to find that.
Yeah, I second that. I totally second that. And the funny thing is like, I think there's seven of us, and 7 or 8. Yeah. And if you were to like ask all 7 or 8 of us like 10 questions about anything, you would get 7 or 8 different answers about everything, because we're all so different, like ranging.
But it worked.
Like, yes, like professionally, like as parents, we all parent differently. Like there's so many different things about us, but like we're just able to have that common thread of just being a group of people who like want to support each other. We're always like, you know, one of the girls got an award for work, and you know, everybody's like, oh yeah, like there's like congratulatory stuff. Like it was just, it's nice to have. I totally agree with you, Gab. I totally agree with you. That is a big one for sure. But interestingly enough, I'm not sure that I ever thought anything was going to be easy. Like, I don't know, or hard. Like I kind of just didn't think, you know what I mean? Like I think I just was like, maybe I'm just clueless. I was clueless.
I thought I would have more things figured out. I thought I'd be more confident and have like life figured out more. I think that's why that made sense to me. I thought you got like,
Mr. Miller thought it was going to be easier too.
Sorry, we'll have that. We'll start over again. We'll do some editing. Rewind, Jared.
Take it out. I think
Clearly Roro just got up and walked. She's just acting like a cat, and Miller, you know.
God forbid.
Just be Miller.
He's so cute. He can't hear me though.
He's lucky. He's cute too. He's kind of like a child. So anyway, so starting over again.
What were you gonna say?
I have mush brain already. I thought I would have things like I thought I would have more confidence and life would be easier by now. Like I said in my This Is 40 like writing, I didn't think like Kyle would leave and I would fall apart and have to figure like the unknowing and then the knowing and figure everything out all over again. That goes to show you don't, the importance of not identifying yourself as like just mom, just wife, like the importance of being a human being and a woman and yourself first and your worth, like knowing your worth. But I just really thought 40 would look, that's why I thought it would look much different than it does. That's why I like that question so much. So
that's a good question. I liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to rapid fire because this is going to be fun. Okay. So Christina, you want to do the looking back rapid fire? Because I know this is going to make you happy.
Yeah. Are we just everybody hollering out their answers?
Well, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, you're the one who doesn't like the hollering.
No, they got to holler.
All right.
Unmute.
All right. So everybody unmute. You ready?
All right. You know, 2 choices. You holler the best answer. Make sure it's a good one for this first one. NKOTB.
Go.
NKOTB or Backstreet Boys?
NKOTB.
Backstreet Boys.
New Kids. Totally New Kids.
Cabbage Patch Kids or Care Bears?
Care Bears Scare.
Oh, that's a hard one. Both.
My Little Ponies or Pound Puppies?
My Little Ponies.
Pound Puppies.
Oh, the Pound Puppies were cute.
Mm-hmm.
They were.
Z Cavaricis or Skids?
Z Cavaricis all the way.
Did.
I don't know.
You know, Jared used to wear Z Cavaricis. He was a big Z Cavarici man. I have some pictures of it. I'll have to show you.
Yeah, I've seen some too. Rocked it with his rat tail, right?
Yes.
Cassette tape or CD?
CD.
CD.
Cassette.
Button fly or zipper?
Zipper.
Zipper.
Ooh, buttons. Miss those buttons. It's been a while since I've seen a button.
Mhm.
Oh, those
They haven't
buttons
done
are
button
so
flies.
annoying.
It's way too hard to go to the bathroom.
It takes more time
Exactly.
for sure. It definitely takes more time.
And if their jeans were tight, you really had to like pull up tight so that you could like button the thing.
I felt like it held the pooch in better though, the buttons for some reason. than
And
the
that's-
There was
zipper.
more support. Definitely
Yeah.
more support.
That's why she's my cousin and sister right there. I was just thinking, I'm like, the pooch gets held in. All right. Rach and Ross versus Luke and Brenda. Which one?
Oh, Luke and Brenda.
Luke and Brenda.
Yeah.
Rach and Ross.
Rach and Ross.
But if you ask me now at 40, I would do Rach and Ross. But
Me
back
too.
then, it definitely was Brenda and Luke.
Yes.
I think I
Agreed,
was
Jen.
I think I was in college when Friends was out. I remember watching it in my dorm room. Pretty sure. Oof. Anyway, next.
90210 versus Melrose Place.
90210.
90210.
90210.
Same.
Zach and Kelly or Slater and Jesse?
Zach and Kelly.
Zach and Kelly.
100%.
Zach and Kelly.
Screech.
Good answer. Spandex versus Umbros.
Oh, Umbros.
Spandex.
Spandex.
Oh.
Different
Although-
answer now, but then Umbros.
I have to tell you, when I think I was going into ninth grade and I met this guy who I am still friends with to this day. We were very close friends. And he swears that when he met me, I was wearing spandex. I go, I didn't even own spandex when I was in eighth grade. He goes, you did. He's like, they were purple. I go, you were so full of it. I'm like, I don't know if you like what was going on through your head, man, but no spandex, Umbros, dude.
Not purple.
Certainly not purple.
Certainly
Ooh.
not purple.
Ooh.
Yeah, purple would not be the color you would choose.
God, no.
Last one. This is a good one. Jelly bracelet or friendship bracelet?
Friendship
Jelly
bracelet.
bracelet.
Friendship.
What'd you say, Jen? Jelly?
Jelly.
Yeah, I
You
could
could
see
wear
Jen
so
being a
many of
jelly.
those. They were
Yeah.
so cool. You
Yeah.
can tie them together. I mean, there's so many different things you could do with that.
So many options. I could see that. And you probably wore the jelly shoes too, right?
Of course.
Yeah, girl. Sure did. Right up in there.
All right, that
All right,
is
what do you-
it for the rapid fire round one.
There's
looking
more
back.
coming.